You're on.
How many of you guys have ever been hanging out with your friends and watched them do something you knew was incredibly stupid, but they just went through with it anyways? Well, my quote is, it is human nature to think wisely and act foolishly. And this is a quote I agree 100% completely with, because just through many experiences I've had in my life just hanging out with my friends, I can demonstrate why I agree with that. My friend Brennan, he's really into motorcycles, and one day he went out to the desert and broke his leg just going off a jump. And then 3 weeks later, while he was still in the cast, he was riding his little mini motorcycle around in the neighborhood, and he crashed and fell on the same leg. And or just how many times have you guys just, I don't know, been like just hanging out with your friends, and I don't know, as a guy, we get into some stupid shit. How many times have you just been sitting around and watching your friend, and you're thinking, dude, don't throw that egg, but they throw it anyways. And it's really easy to sit back when you're not in that moment to observe how foolish an action is, but when you're in that moment, you're thinking about a whole lot of other stuff, so it's kind of hard to think about that. And people learn from their mistakes, so I think the only way that people will stop acting foolishly is to just let them make those mistakes, which is, and those are just two examples of why I agree with this quote.
All right, Colin, you always look very relaxed when you're speaking. All the presentation things are solid. Your voice comes across pretty effectively. Everything is fluent while you're speaking. There's not a whole bunch of hesitation or awkward moments where we're not sure what's coming up. The gestures appear to be engaged. Your facial expressions are pretty naturalistic. You look like you're having fun talking to us. You don't always have a lot of material that you're working with here, but you're doing exactly the kind of thing that we're asking folks to do. Have a point, give us some examples, say it in an interesting way, and the fact that it's only a minute and a half, shouldn't freak you out as much as the fact that maybe you're having a hard time looking at people, or that you are drawing attention to some mistake that you're making. And you don't do any of those kinds of things. You do the presentation part, I think, very effectively. Now, could you have done some more with what you had? I think so. I think you could have, for example, previewed the experiences that you had, talked about your one friend as the first example, then develop another illustration, think of a personal example, for instance, or maybe there's something else that applies in another context or another sphere. This is one of the reasons why creating a structure for yourself would help a little bit, because you probably didn't have any trouble thinking of your friend Brian when you came up with that, and then you've got that one, and then you go, now where am I going to go from that? Okay, well, how is it true personally? I got a friend Brian like that, Well, how is it true with people that I work with professionally? How is it true, when it comes to international relations? I mean, if you just come up with some structure, then you'll think of an idea. But if you don't do that, then you're kind of stuck with the ideas that popped into your head first, and so it gets to be a little bit limited. Yeah, my criticisms don't really have much to do with the presentation. Everything's very naturalistic, and I think you exhibit good confidence. I thought you summarized your point and did exactly what you need to do. If you're done, you don't want to belabor the point, get off gracefully, and we'll move on with the next speaker, and that's fine.